Hey, how's it going, chosen ones? So, the title of this message today is You Are a Light Worker. So, today is Sunday and it's the day that I fast. So, I have been fasting today and God's been showing me something that He wanted me to get this message out. So, it's something that I felt that it was mandatory that I give you a teaching on. Now, some of you might be going through an awakening, or you had already had your awakening, but I know that they usually take some time. And once you have your awakening, it's almost like you're in a permanent awakening. You have a new consciousness, right? So, after you get your awakening, this is going to be a lifelong journey, a beautiful one, of healing, of change, of growth, of many things internally that are going to change as well as externally, because as you know, what we have on the internal will always come to light on the outside. So I took some notes that I could give you guys to help you know if maybe God has you as a light worker, and kind of help you better to understand what that is. So I have 7 signs that I wrote down as to maybe you are a light worker for the Most High as a chosen one. All right, so sign number 1 is they often get pulled to feeling great in helping others and also have compassion towards others, most times since childhood. So you may have like a strong feeling of compassion towards helping others ever since you were a child. Even animals. You might be the type of person as a child that would try to rescue an animal or save somebody in some type of way, or help somebody heal in some type of way. Because I remember a crazy story I can tell you real quick, where there was this guy who was on drugs pretty bad, and he got out of prison and he found out that his wife was cheating on him while he was locked up. At this time, I was only about 13 years old. And this man did some drugs, and he got in his car and he nodded off while he was driving. Well, he was going really fast because he was mad at the circumstances. I'm not sure if it was purposely, but it didn't look that way to me. So he nodded off at the wheel, and he was doing probably every bit of 80 miles an hour. Because I used to kind of live in the country when I was younger. It was like a little neighborhood. Well, this man nodded off, and there was tracks from when he nodded off, and he was going off the street because there was tracks in the grass across the street from my house, and you could see where maybe he had woke up from his nod off and tried to correct himself back on the street, and he overcorrected and he slammed into the cars in our driveway going 80. And I heard it upstairs, and I looked out the window, and nobody else knew what was going on. I was 13, and I took off running and jumped down these stairs. I don't think I even hit a step. And my mom was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Somebody crashed," and I ran outside. I didn't even finish. It's weird how I'm 13 and I was never taught to do this. It was instantaneous. Like it was built in me. I ran out there and I said, "Sir, can you hear me? Can you hear me?" And he didn't answer, and he was bleeding from his head, and he was laying in the car like this, slumped against the side. So I checked his pulse, and he had a very, very, very light pulse, as if at barely one at all, honestly. And I knew that and something told me in my intuition, I just knew that if I didn't do something now, that he was going to die right now. So I remember holding his neck so that I wouldn't hurt his neck. And it's odd that I knew this at 13. I'm holding his neck to try to let him out of the vehicle, and I put him in the driveway and gave him CPR to try to save his life. Now that's a crazy situation to be in. But it was just crazy how my intuition automatically knew what to do there. And I had brought his pulse back. And the neighbor was a grown woman. She's freaking out, not even knowing what to do. And here I am, 13, saving this man's life. She's crying and screaming. And I said, while I'm sitting there giving the guy CPR, I said, get on your phone and call 911. So she did. 13 years old, I'm guiding this situation here. So she called 911, and they got there, and they ended up rushing him to the hospital, and he ended up passing away because he had too much brain bleeding, but I did bring his pulse back. But I just thought it was crazy, that story that I had seen at 13 years old, and how my intuition automatically knew, like God told me the answers. And I didn't even have to question what I was supposed to do here, while grown adults around me were panicking and freaking out. So I just want to tell you that story real quick, just to get you to understand of a situation that had happened as I was a child. That's just a small glimpse of something that I have seen, right? Well, anyways, so I'm going to finish this. I just wanted to give you that story real quick to give you an understanding of one of the things I had went through. Okay, so as a light worker, we also tend to be sensitive and often feel sadness and anguish for misery that dwells around us in the world. So we tend to feel very bad for others, and when other people are in pain, we are sensitive to that. We can sense that. And it's not something we like. We like to be healers. That's just how we are designed as a light worker and as a chosen one. Because God has different avenues and different jobs for each chosen one. So whenever I get done telling you the signs, you can always go look up what is a light worker for God, and it'll show you the different ones. Find out which one you are so you can look into it, and it's going to align perfect with your purpose. So I'm hoping this is helping somebody today. All right. Sign number 3. We are often empathetic toward other humans and even animals. That's kind of what I had already said. I remember being a kid, I tried to save animals all the time. Especially if I see them being mistreated, or one day I chased this kid down the street and was ready to beat him up because he threw a basketball at a baby bird and hit it. And it made me mad. It was like I was meant to protect this animal. It was like in my intuition, it was in my genetics to be this way. Right? So if that's you, you may be a light worker. Number 4, we can often feel the emotions and needs of other living beings around us, which then enables us to use our positive energy and wisdom to heal others. So we have the mindset and the intuition and the care to want to heal and help other people around us. And we can sense their energy. We can take one look at somebody and know what they're thinking or how they're feeling. Because we are one of God's light workers. God is all knowing. He knows all. He knows everything. He feels everything. He hears everything. So his chosen ones, he also makes this way. Now, no, we're not exactly like God, but if we do have a purpose, and God designs us this way, so he will put it into our mind and intuition during circumstances to make us move on this destiny that we are. And once you're in your awakening, you will start to understand this about yourself. And this is why God led me to this message today. All right, so number 5 is you may have saved others or even animals through difficult times. You may have, or you may have tried to, or you may have a strong pulling to do so. All right, number 6, we are blessed with a high intuition power and inner guidance that enables us to sense energy shifts and emotions like pain and sorrow in others around us. Right? So number 7 is we are driven towards serving and helping others through healing, through spiritual healing, mental, physical, emotional healing. That's our approach that we usually try to do it. And we can often heal pain and hurt inside of others within minutes around us. That's a big one. I've been doing this my whole life, helping and healing others around me. And especially once we hit our awakening, this is when, like I keep telling you guys, this is when God takes us to a whole new level where our senses and our emotions and our wisdom and just our spirituality in general gets heightened, increased. That's what this awakening's about, right? And since my awakening, I have hung around a few people, and it was because I was led to help these people. One person was on meth, and they were young. They were a young person, only about, I think they were like 17, 18 years. They had just turned 18 years old. And I had helped this person for an entire year. Well, it's weird that we have these gifts, and God used my looks to attract this person. It was wild how it worked, because he trusted me as well. He knew that I wasn't sexually driven anymore, that he had healed me from this, and that I had been focusing on my internal growth and not sexual anything with other people, right? So initially it was my looks that drawed this person in. And I had sat down and had a talk with them, and I think they had already kind of known about God, but they didn't understand certain things, obviously, because they were young in the game and they were influenced by drugs. It's what the devil uses, drugs, to try to block our vision, to try to block our emotions and block God from being able to speak to us, because it's a small, silent voice in our intuition and mind. God can still speak through it, but it makes it very hard for you to take it, for you to accept it, because you are under the influence of demonic entities like drugs, right? Well, this person enjoyed my company so much that they were willing to do anything as a human being to be able to hang around me. And I could see that as well. So I start putting seeds into their spirit. And I start having these long talks, deep talks with them. And it didn't take me but like a couple minutes to completely flip their mindset and change their way of thinking. Now, because there was a stronghold there, such as drugs, you know how hard that is to let go of. Blaze. Stop. And got my big dogs making a bunch of noise. Well, it only took me a couple weeks to completely flip this person's mindset and start giving them the teachings that I have used and telling them that they needed to get closer to God, and I started sending them videos that I knew would make that seed grow. I planted the seed and then I watered it. That's what we must do as light workers of God, as chosen ones. You plant the seed, and it's up to them whether they take it or not. But if they take it, that's where we go in and we start to water this seed, nurture this seed, and then plant more seeds, bring light to it, plant more seeds, water it, bring light to it. It's crazy how everyday nature God teaches us about growth. It's beautiful. And the more you start to dig deep and learn who you are, you start to understand these things. So I hope this helped you a little bit. I just wanted to drop this message real quick to maybe give you an awakening during your awakening or during your isolation, to let you know some of your purpose. And in your hardships, God also gave me a passage that you can look up. Matthew 4:1 through 11. It's where God leads his son Jesus into the desert for his purpose, to be tested by the devil publicly, to heal others and give them God's word and hope in the dry land. That is Matthew 4:1 through 11. That was what he gave me when I was doing this. So I just wanted to drop this message on you real quick, because sometimes I give motivational ones, sometimes I do teachings. I think we need both. Sometimes I got to bring you the real, sometimes I got to uplift your spirit, whatever the case may be. So I hope this resonated with some of you, and look up Lightworker for God if you believe that this has been you, or this could be you. So I hope you guys have a blessed day. Stay focused, stay positive, and keep growing. I love y'all, man, and keep your head up. And I'll see y'all on the next video. Salute.